If you find yourself going into a free fall inside a metal tube, hurtling through the clouds at hundreds of kilometers per hour, and an oxygen mask drops down right in front of you, try not to panic. Airplane crashes are highly survivable, and here's what you can do to increase your chances of survival, according to science. Taking a flight on a commercial airplane is about as risky as riding an escalator. The odds of being killed in a plane crash are 1 in 11 million. You're more likely to drown in a bubble bath, choke on your breakfast, or die in a car accident on your way to the airport. Yet, we can all feel a little nervous when stepping on a plane. What do you do with this yellow mask if it suddenly drops from the ceiling? Where do you run to in an emergency evacuation? And where is the safest place on the plane? Here are 6 things you can do to survive a plane crash. Number 1. Dress as if you'll have to run away from a fire. Your flip-flops may be comfy, but they're not going to perform well in case of an emergency. And neither will your high-heeled shoes. The National Transportation Safety Board reports that 68% of passengers in plane accidents die from injuries in post-crash fires. So go for long pants and long-sleeved shirts. They'll protect you from flames and sharp objects. And put on lace-up shoes in case you need to run. Number 2. Be wise about where your seat is. Where is the safest place to sit anyway? According to an analysis of airplane crashes by Popular Mechanics, your best bet is to sit as far back in the airplane as possible, unless the plane goes down tail first. You see, there's no such thing as the safest seat on a plane. It all really depends on the situation. Regardless of what section you're sitting in, know where the emergency exits are. When you get on the plane, count the rows to the closest one so that you can find it even if the cabin is filled with smoke. Number 3, stay awake during takeoff and landing. The first 3 minutes after takeoff and the 8 minutes before landing are the most accident-prone times of the entire flight. Make sure to keep your shoes on, your seatbelt fastened, and your tray table up. Put your carry-on items under the seat in front of you. You know why? To keep your legs from going under the seat and getting broken. And pay attention to the emergency instructions, even if you've been on a plane many times before. Not all planes are the same. Number 4. If you do get in a crash, try not to panic. The first 90 seconds of a plane crash are the most important. Many people get so nervous they forget how to unbuckle their seatbelt. Listen carefully to the instructions, but don't just sit through the disaster waiting for orders if they're not coming. The first thing you should do is to prepare for impact. Bend over, grab your legs behind your knees, and keep your head down. In the worst-case scenario, the cabin will experience sudden pressure loss and oxygen deficiency. You'll only have about 10 seconds before you go unconscious. So if you see the oxygen masks drop down, put one on yourself first. Only then should you try to help someone else. Number 5. Save yourself, not your possessions. If you get to evacuate from the plane, do it as quickly as possible. Don't try to get your carry-on to take with you. In the time you waste, you might end up getting stuck with it on a burning plane. Finally, once you're on the ground, get as far away from the crash as you can. If your plane hits the ground, there's a high chance of it exploding. Run at least 150 meters away from it in the direction against the wind and wait for the rescuers to find you. It's good to be prepared for anything, but don't be afraid of flying. In the history of aviation, it's never been a safer time to fly. Commercial aviation averages less than 500 fatalities per year worldwide. Among planes that do get into accidents, over 95% of the passengers get out of them alive. Personally, I try to think of turbulence like bumps on the road. Helps with my flying anxiety. That's a little tip from me to you. Stay tuned for another how-to, according to science.